And got my coffee. I usually have 2 sugars. What's happening? Sorry about the slurping. Tanker rewards. Play games. Hot Wheels TM season. Hot Wheels TM chests. Contract has expired. The machine contract 0 minutes expired times at this contract has expired. Check out the mercenary line for okay. Thanks for the likes, guys. Okay, this war story is a very good way of grinding. So remember this tank, he's been winning me battles for me. And today the NHS are rolling out the antivirus injections to the elderly today. So there's 10,000 flu antivirus vaccines getting loaded up around the world today. So that's very good of you, NHS. You're doing really well, fighting back this menace that is the virus. We get to go home, guys, for Christmas, which is the best load of good news we ever heard. And bad news for Donald Trump has lost the election this year, so there'll be a new president of the United States. He'll be a much older bloke, older than Trump. So good, go on war stories, so I can level up for my experience a bit more and silver to unlock this so we're gonna unlock this tank. So I haven't got this tank yet, so when I do have the tank I'll show you how I operate it when it's fully upgraded to max. So it's a 3D print of the weak spots and the strongest points on the tank. Tortoise is a very good vehicle for ambushing smaller tanks, which are like tier 3 all the way down to tier 2, very light tanks. This tank will one shot any low tier tank lower than itself, and this tank is incredibly slow, the Tortoise, so probably if you tried to run for cover, you probably won't make undercover because of the enemy artillery overhead launching shells at your tank. Gonna take a visit down memory lane into the war stories, and so this is challenge mode, war stories. So the best tank to have to take on a load of enemy tanks. Need to level up Sergeant Whitney Lewis a bit more to rank 100 on the silent driving. These two light tanks won't stand a chance against heavily armoured vehicles. Let's take a look at this armour. It's quite good around the face of the tank and the underbelly of the tank. But if it took one direct incoming shell from the enemy from the side, that will shear off some of its hit points, and this tank will probably get murdered as soon as you send it out through the factory doors. This will get wrecked. This thing absolutely reeks of weak points. This is like probably lucky enough to only get one enemy tank kill in this tank, and then as soon as he gets spotted, it's game over. This tank will be a rusted pile of rusted, tangled, bent out of shape metal, really. So this tank is more of a scout tank. For a tank of its size, it's very quick. It's at 58 mobility speed percentage. So you can ram a very weak tank and only have like 5% ram damage done from ramming into the first enemy to see, really, isn't it? So this tank, it's much beautifully well armoured, this tank. So if you get a shot in where the head of the tank is, it'll probably get jammed where that drinks tray part of the front of the muzzle, part of the turret, part of the tank, because it would just bounce off. So for from what I can see from this angle, that's another strong point on the tank. So if you angle your armor very well, this tank will keep you alive on the battlefield. If it serves you well, it will definitely gather like most of silver. You probably make over a million silver in probably 22 matches in 1 year. This is like a similar model from the American tank, because the Sherman was based off the Americans' blueprint design of this tank. So the Americans sold the blueprint plans to the Russians, and the Americans were good friends with the Russians from Mother Russia. So even though the harsh winters were not great in Russia, Russia still came to our aid when we needed them the most. So good on you, Reds. You've done us proud. For this tank, the Wormwood, it's full of weak spots on this tank, so you probably need to be like silent and sneaky in the bush somewhere. So I mean, if this tank took a armor piercing shell to the face, it probably needs a facelift before he heads back to the garage to be fixed. For this tank to like walk away with like a few bruises and some battle scars, you probably need to rethink your strategy. Unless you go for a more of a chunky fellow of a tank, like Arnold Schwarzenegger muscly tank, you probably need to. This tank's not too bad actually, 26 survivability, but the enemy can get around your tank. They can definitely wreak fear if you get shot, because the back of the tank, which is in the blue area right here, if the enemy shoots a blind shot from behind the trees and bushes, they can immobilize this tank's engine, and your speed to be reduced down to 25%. So we'll be sitting duck if we get shot, and the US. So always change the course of the war in this game. Because danger is very real, and fear is a choice. It's advice from Will Smith from After Earth movie I saw once. It was very entertaining, very moving. Thank you for the invite there, Blaze. So the overall, that's the patches where the strong parts of the tank is, and if this thing gets tracked, and the enemy keeps you tracked, then it'd be easy pickings from enemy artillery. If the enemy artillery spot you in this thing, and you stay still for too long, and you don't move at all, it's much harder for the enemy artillery to target you when you're a moving target. Because when you're stood still target, you're much more vulnerable from above and at the side. So it's a bit like a pack of velociraptors, really. So we see a group of heavily armed, very high tier heavy tanks, and they operate in a group. You need to take down the weakest part of the enemy tanks in their group category, and then when you shut their the strongest tank down, then they'll crumble, and then they'll literally turn around and they'll flee for their lives, and they keep fleeing basically until they run out of huff and puff in their engine, really, until they get shot in the engine, and then they grind to a halt, and you can literally shoot ping pong balls at them until they literally wrecking tangled like rusted metal, really. Because clever thing, once a tank comes back from the front lines and that's badly beaten up, the Americans do find a way of restoring Second World War tanks, and they replace all the old worn away parts and replace them with reconstructed parts from other tanks to make it last longer. It's called restoration, tank restoration. Restoration preserving, it's called. It means to look after something that's been part of the history books, and that's saved our country twice, or once, I think. Because this is a tank that was in the Battle of Denmark. Because that's a resistance tank, so it's a big favourite for tank lovers out there. This is a Quarlton Mark 1. Isn't she a beauty? Take a good look at you. I'm talking about this beauty of this wonderful masterpiece of a tank. Engineering down to every detail is amazing. I mean, Because the Americans, when or the British, when they made this tank, they started off with just the tractor tracks, and then they built their way up from the tracks, put everything in, slotted in perfectly. So you see the red highlighted points on this tank. Those are the parts of the tank which will bounce incoming enemy shots. So that will save you. That will save you losing all your hit points. So your hit points are precious to your tank. Because if you lose all your hit points, then the enemies just claimed your hit points, basically, like killed you. So if you lose all your hit points, your tank goes up in smoke and explodes, and you have to head back to garage to get another tank to roll out with. So if you're put in this tank for the first time, always angle your armor the same as the Mouse, the German super heavy tank, and you can get a load of bounces on this tank. So this is what the tank looks like when it's not fully upgraded. That's the Cromwell Mark II. This greatly increases the chassis, the head part of the tank. Upgrades the Rolls-Royce motor engine and the tracks and the radio. Survivability up to 8%, so you'll be up to 49. This increases firepower. There you go. So it's much stronger now. So this tank could be a very, very good tank at grinding as much silver as you can out of this special big behemoth for the tank. This tank, on the other hand, needs a bit of help, basically. So if you get this upgrade for this tank, it'll decrease its effectiveness. So this tank, I need 1946. See how well this Valentine AT holds out